Hi everyone and welcome to this very exciting masterclass. So this class is about how to become debt free. So what are the mental hacks and what are the different debt payment strategies that you can use to become debt free in your life? Okay, so let's start with it. So why is handling debt so important? So imagine if you have a $10,000 credit card balance. Now the interest rates are very high, so credit card interest rates are north of 20%. So let's assume you have a 22% interest rate on your credit card and you are paying $200 monthly on that credit card because that is what you can do, that is what you can afford. So what will happen? It will take you 11 years and 5 months to pay that credit card off. That is the $10,000 balance. It will take you 11 years and 5 months to pay it off. And you would have paid in that time $17,355 in interest along with that $10,000 balance. So in total, you would be paying $27,355. Okay. So that's a lot. The interest itself will be more than what you have spent on your credit card. So managing debt is very important because you cannot make that kind of money even in stock markets. Consistently making 22% is very hard in stock markets, even in stock markets or real estate for that matter. So handling debt is very important for your financial well-being. Now, what kind of debts usually people have? So if you see, I have divided the debts according to most expensive based on the prevailing interest rates and the least expensive. Okay. So the most common type of debt that a person would have is a credit card. So credit card is a plastic card that banks or in Walmart or these companies provide you. Now, the credit card is a very useful tool. It creates your credit score, it creates your credit history, but it is very easy to mismanage that because in a credit card you actually spend before and pay later. So you go to a shop, you spend on your credit card, right? You have a credit limit, you spend between within that, and later on you pay that bill, right? So it creates an illusion of free money. The money is not free, the money you have to pay back, but it creates an illusion of free money. Plus credit cards are very expensive. Right now the credit card interest rates are north of 22%, right? And it's very expensive debt to have. Okay. Next is people go for these pawn shop loans or alternative lending companies. So if you want if you do not have a good credit score, you cannot go to a bank, you can approach these companies to borrow money. So these are like personal loans, but the interest rates on them are very high, right? So if not higher than credit cards, it is at least higher than a bank personal loan or a bank line of credit. So very high interest rates, and they have like a lot of hidden fees. So try to avoid these companies as much as you can. Okay. Then there are personal loans or unsecured lines of credit that you generally get from a bank. So you go to a bank, they will check your debts that you already have, they will check your credit score, and they will give you some amount, right, as a line of credit or as a personal loan based on your capacity and based on your credit history and credit scores, right? Usually cheaper than credit cards or alternative financing companies. Right now it is somewhere between, depending on your credit score, somewhere between 7 to 10% interest. Secured lines of credit are same thing. You go to a bank, right? You ask for a line of credit or you ask for a personal loan, but you're keeping some collateral. So collateral could be your house, collateral could be your GIC investments, collateral could be your mutual fund or insurance company investments. So you keep some collateral with the bank and borrow money against that. Now the interest rate is lower than unsecured lines of credit because you are keeping a collateral. So the risk for the bank is lower. So that's the reason they will charge you lower interest rates. Then you have mortgages, right? That is one of the major borrowings of Canadians, right? So you want to buy a house, you do not have enough cash, you put some down payment in and you borrow rest of the money, right, from a bank against the title of the house. So that's a mortgage. Mortgage is a long duration. Usually it is somewhere between 25 to 30 years in Canada. Then you might have some student loans, right? Student loans are, you borrow from the federal government, you borrow from the provincial government, you borrow from some private companies to study. Now in like federal loans, federal student loans right now are interest free. Like there was a recent budget decision in which they made student loan interest on federal loans interest free. So this has the lowest amount of interest, followed by the mortgage, followed by the secured lines of credit, right, followed by personal loans or unsecured lines of credit from the banks, then alternative financing companies, along with credit cards. So this is the scheme of high debt, high interest debt to low interest debt that you can get yourself into. Now this, like there is a financial cost of debt. We saw that you will be paying more interest than what you have shopped if you keep on paying less amount of money than what you have to put up, right? But there is a big mental health impact of debt too. So there have been a lot of studies done on debt, right? So debt creates anxiety in people. So you get a feeling of anxiety each time you see the bill or each time you think about it. It creates stress in people. So lack of sleep could be a cause due to debt, right? It creates depression in people, right? So depression is also one of the leading like mental health conditions that has been associated with debt. It creates strained relationships between like two partners, for example, or between parents and kids, right? If the debt management is not good, right? There has been study, more than 40% of marriages end not because of lack of love, lack of commitment, but because of financial problems, financial mismanagement. So it's very important to have your partner on board, right, about and speak about debt in a marriage. It's very important to do that. Then it also creates, studies after studies have shown that lot of debt creates lower satisfaction in life. So if you have a lot of debt, you might not be able to focus on your family or focus on your children or focus on you yourself. So that creates lower satisfaction in people because of that. This is an important thing. Lot of debt also limits risk taking. If you have debt, a significant amount of it, it might stop you from starting a new business or working on your hobby, converting into passive income stream, right? Or maybe starting a YouTube channel, right, for that matter. So lot of debt creates or limits your risk taking capacity. So there are real life mental health impacts of having a lot of debt. Now, how to pay off that bully of yours, the debt that bullies you always, how to pay it off. So there are different strategies of paying. So consolidation loans, avalanche method, snowball method that we will look into. But first important thing, before you pay off debt, you have to stop creating new debt. So the first step that any person listening to this video or otherwise should do is stop creating new debt. If you are in a lot of debt, you have to stop first and then start paying. Okay, otherwise it is a leaking bucket. If you keep on putting water into a leaking bucket, right, there is no point because the water will not stay there. So let's look into different mental tricks to stop creating debt and then go into these consolidation loans, avalanche method and snowball method. So how to stop creating debt? So there are a lot of mental tricks that you can use that have been studied, that have been recommended by financial planners that you might use in your life, right, to avoid creating new debt. So first is limit access to credit cards. Credit cards are so easy to shop, Most of the times you have them auto fed into the Amazons, right, or online shopping platforms. You can tap them now, so that even lessens the hurdles, right? So first thing you should do, if you are in lot of debt, limit your access to credit cards, keep it in a safe, lock them down, don't use them. And any other easy payment method. So delete all the information on online websites, Netflix, etc. that you might have put in. Cancel all the subscriptions you have. One of the major things is people have a lot of subscriptions now. They might not be even using them, but cancel all the subscriptions, cancel, remove information from online shopping platforms, and limit the physical access to credit cards. Credit cards create an illusion of free money, so stay away from that illusion until you get into good money management habits. Next is, this is a method that has been tested, right, on people who have debt. It has worked. So what is this method? Cash only payments. So you pay for anything, groceries, everything in cash. Start paying that if you are into debt problems. When physical dollars are removed out of the pocket, right, you feel that you're paying for it, and you stop spending because of that. This is a psychological trick that has been tested, that has been shown to work on people. So cash only payment, count the notes while you're paying them, right, so that you feel it physically leaving you, money physically leaving you. That is an important thing to feel. Then whenever you're shopping, always think, do you need it? Do you want it? Is it need based? Is your life going to be stuck, or do you need that thing in your life to perform, right? And then, do you really want it? Okay, these two things always when you shop. Then any big shopping decision, sleep on it. So there is a 2-day decision making rule. So anything you want to buy, a big purchase, right? Let's say it's a new table, it's a new dining table. You look at different dining tables, you compare options, you find something that fits in your budget, then you do this, do you need it, do you want it, and then you sleep on it, not for 1 day but for 2 days. So you actually buy it after 2 days, put it into the cart, let it stay into the cart for 2 days, and if you still want to buy it, then go ahead and do that, right? The harder you make it on yourself to do certain things, the lesser you will do it. This is just the inertia theory, right? The more resistance you have in life, the lesser you will tend to do that thing. So this all tricks are to create resistance. Then count the days of satisfaction you will derive from stuff here that you're buying. This is also a cool trick to do. So do you need it? Do you want it? And how long is it going to give you that satisfaction? If it is some kind of toy that you're just going to use once or twice and not going to use it, then there is no point of buying it. So this is also a good trick to follow. Then create a very simple budget. Complex budgets are very hard to stick to, right? So have some buckets that you have. So bucket for grocery, how much money you have there, how much money you're going to spend from that. Bucket for utilities and all of that. Buckets for travel, right? And then bucket for debt payment. So create a very simple budget so that you can stick to it. Have a debt payment allocation from each budget. So from every paycheck you get, you should allocate some money to attack your debt, right? Start with small amounts and start to increase it over time. Don't start with a big amount that you cannot stick to. Start with a small amount of money and attack debt with that. Then as you proceed through, right, and you get better at managing money, you start increasing that debt payment amount. Okay, so these are good mental tricks to have to follow in order to stop creating new debt. Then what are the different ways that you can attack debt or repay debt? So the first method is debt consolidation loan. So there are these companies, you can just Google debt consolidation. Lot of companies are there. So what is debt consolidation? So you have different monthly payments. So let's say you have credit cards, lines of credit, utility debt, right, dental and medical bills, and student loans. So you have different monthly payments on all of these, right? So it's hard to keep track and hard to pay them. So what this company does, it consolidates the debt. Consolidates the debt means it pays all of this debt for you, right? Creates a single loan, right? And then you just pay that loan off rather than paying this each and every individual debt of yours, right? The issue with that is debt consolidation loans are very long. So it can be for 10 years, it can be for 15 years, right? If you're not able to pay it. Plus, if your credit score is low, then they will charge very high interest, right? So overall, you're going to pay more, right, than you would have if you attacked these debts individually. It actually depends. If you have a lot of credit card debts will usually be higher, more costlier than debt consolidations loan. Not always, but most of the times they might be more costlier. So it might be a good idea to get debt consolidation loans for that. But if you have other kinds of debt, then check out, right, what works for you, because debt consolidation is a good plan. They consolidate the debt, they create one loan out of everything, and you just pay that loan off. But the loan is longer in duration, so effectively you're going to pay more. So what are the pros and cons of consolidation loan? So pros, it streamlines finances. You just have one payment every month, right? And if you stick to it, you know that you're going to pay everything off. It may expedite payoff. So it's a start. If you're not able to start on your own, it's a good start to have. It could lower interest rates. So if you have a lot of credit card debt and the consolidation loan is at a lower interest rate, then you could lower your interest payments. It may reduce monthly payment, the overall monthly payment that you have on debt, and it is stretching yourself too thin and creating stress in your life. So this could potentially reduce the monthly payment that you have to make so that you have more peace of mind. The cons, it comes with like a lot of added cost. It has something called as origination fee. Origination fee is very costly. So they originate the loan, they check your credit score, they do all the work, and they charge fees for that. And the fees are heavy. It could raise your interest rates if you do not have high interest loans. You pay more in interest over time because these loans are longer. So the longer the loan, the more interest you pay. You risk missing payments that can create a snowball on your consolidation loan, right? It doesn't solve the underlying financial issue. It just postpones it because all your debt goes away. You create one debt, right? And it frees up your credit cards. It frees up your lines of credit, etc. So it encourages you even to spend more. So there are a lot of people who get these consolidation loans. Their debt is paid off. They have a payment plan in place, but because they get like their access to credit card has opened up, right? They start spending more, right? So it's a cycle. It's very hard to stop yourself from spending if you do not have good money management skills. The second method is when you're not taking a consolidation loan, but you're doing it yourself, right? So this method is called as the snowball method of debt payment. So what is snowball method? So you list your debt from the smallest to the largest in dollar amount. The smallest debt you have, the largest debt you have, you list them out, right, in dollar amount. Then you attack the smallest dollar debt. So let's say you have like $3,000 on credit card 1, $10,000 on credit card 2, and $20,000 of student loans. Then you start with $3,000 of credit card 1 because that is the lowest amount of dollar debt, right? Attack the smaller debt and make minimum payments on the rest of the debts, right? So whenever you get extra money by cutting expenses, like cutting spending, selling stuff, or doing some side hustle, you make the payments on the smallest debt until it is gone. Once it is gone, you move that payment plus additional money into the next one. So it's like a pyramid. You pay the smallest dollar debt, then you go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. Repeat until you're completely debt free. Now there is a merit to this method. People who have hard time sticking to a plan, right? This method creates the dopamine effect, because if you feel that you're paying off debt, right? You feel happiness when one of the debt goes away. So this method is easier to stick to because it is intuitive. You're paying something off, that goes away, creates happiness, creates encouragement, you stick on to it, you follow it through, right? Creates a dopamine rush, it is easier to follow. The avalanche method. Avalanche method, right? You do the same thing but little bit different. You list down your debts, but not on the dollar amount, but based on interest rate that you're paying. So you list down the expensive debt first, credit cards, then let's say lines of credit, personal loans, car loans, mortgages, student loans. So you base them out based on the interest rate that you are paying. Then you make minimum payments on all your debt except the one with the highest interest rate, right? And you start paying the highest interest rate debt first. So you start with the highest amount of interest rate you're paying, the debt with that, right? Then you go lower, then you go lower, then you go lower. So first you pay your credit cards and alternate finance loans, then you pay your, let's say, lines of credit, then you pay your car loans, then you pay your mortgage, then you pay your student loans, right? That's how you do it. Pay extra towards the debt with the highest interest rate. When you have paid off the debt with the highest interest rate, pay towards the next level. Repeat it until the debt is gone. Now this method will save you a lot of interest because you're attacking the debt that has the highest interest rate. So financially it makes sense, right? But it is very hard to follow because it doesn't create the dopamine effect of the snowball method, right? You're not paying something off, you're not feeling it, right? So it's harder to stick but saves more money in interest. So we'll see an example just for you to think through. So let's say there is $30,000 in total debt. You have a credit card A that has a balance of $15,000 and a minimum payment of $180 and an interest rate of 22.5%. Then there is a credit card B that is $8,400, right? A minimum payment of $101 and interest rate of 18.5%. Student loan has a balance of $6,600, monthly payment of $246 and an interest of 6.2%, right? So these are the three loans that you have. So in the snowball method, you start with the lowest dollar debt first. So you start paying the student loan first, right? Because that's the easiest thing to do, right? You will get there faster. So you pay it off. Then you move to credit card B, $8,400, pay that off. Then you move to credit card A, $15,000 and pay it off, right? Each time you pay off a debt, it creates the dopamine loop. It creates happiness. You will move on with newer Zeist to the next one. Now, if you're a very rational human being, right, and you can control your emotions, you can stick to a plan, right, then do the avalanche method. Avalanche method, you start with the highest interest rate. So you pay credit card A, which has 22.5%, right, interest rate. Then you go to credit card B, which has 18.5%, 18.85% interest rate. And finally, you go to credit card like student loan that is 6.2% interest rate. So you base your decision on the interest rate, not on the dollar amount in the avalanche method. So what will it create? So if you effectively see, right, $30,000 was the debt, right? You start paying it off. In snowball method, you will take more time because higher interest will keep on incurring. You're not attacking it first, right? So it will take you longer to pay your debt off using the snowball method than the avalanche method. And you will pay more also. So using the snowball method, you will be paying $17,728. In the avalanche method, you will be paying $14,672. So almost $3,000 extra you're spending if you follow the snowball method. But again, whatever you can stick with. Okay. So that's it for this masterclass. I hope it helps you in your debt-free journey, right? Try to remain debt-free. Start investing after you have attacked your high-cost debts. Okay. Thank you so much. See you in the next masterclass.